Over the years, Adam realized that his effort to build a solid financial foundation had not been in vain. He no longer worried about overdue bills, he no longer feared financial emergencies, and, more importantly, he had achieved the long-coveted economic freedom. But his learning journey didn't end there. He understood that to remain financially secure in the long run, he would need to adopt continuous and sustainable practices. The first step was ensuring that he never again relied on a single source of income. As he had learned throughout his journey, any unexpected event could threaten his stability if he had only one revenue stream. To prevent this, he further diversified his passive income sources, invested in businesses with predictable returns, and maintained his financial discipline. The second major decision was keeping a robust emergency fund. While many people believe that 3 to 6 months worth of expenses is sufficient, Adam decided to maintain a reserve equivalent to 1 year of fixed costs. This ensured that, in the event of a major economic crisis or loss of one of his income streams, he would have enough time to restructure without panic. According to Bankrate statistics, only 44% of Americans have enough savings to cover unexpected expenses, reinforcing his decision to maintain this extra financial cushion. Additionally, he began strategically planning for retirement. Many people believe that saving for the future is something they can postpone, but Adam had learned that the earlier you start investing, the greater the long-term returns. He increased his contributions to retirement plans and sought investment options that guaranteed secure growth of his wealth. According to the Social Security Administration, 1 in 3 retirees in the U.S. depends almost exclusively on Social Security benefits, which strengthened his conviction that relying solely on government assistance was not a safe option. Another crucial factor was continuing to improve his financial education. Adam understood that markets, opportunities, and risks are constantly evolving, and staying informed was essential for continued prosperity. He committed to regularly reading finance books, attending conferences, and staying connected with experienced mentors in the field. A study by the National Endowment for Financial Education revealed that 71% of individuals who receive financial education make better money decisions, further solidifying his dedication to continuous learning. But perhaps Adam's greatest legacy was sharing his knowledge with others. He began guiding family and friends on how to get out of debt, invest wisely, and build a financially secure future. He realized that most people didn't fail financially due to a lack of ability, but rather due to a lack of information. By helping others avoid the mistakes he had made in the past, he felt he was contributing to a greater impact. Adam never faced financial struggles again. He no longer had to worry about unexpected expenses and was able to enjoy the peace of mind that financial security provides. The secret was never about making huge amounts of money overnight, but about maintaining solid and consistent financial habits over time. Now, the question remains, what can you do today to ensure that you never experience financial hardship again? Your future depends on the choices you make right now. Bankruptcy rarely happens by chance. There is a well-defined pattern behind financial ruin, and the numbers don't lie. In the United States, over 770,000 people declare bankruptcy annually, according to data from the U.S. courts. But what drives so many people to this critical point? Kevin Miller, an economist specializing in personal finance, studied hundreds of cases and discovered that almost all bankruptcy stories follow the same principles: poor financial decisions, lack of planning, and the absence of an emergency fund. The problem is not just overspending, but spending wrongly, and most people only realize this when it's already too late. Statistics show that the 5 leading causes of personal bankruptcy in the U.S. are unexpected medical bills, job loss, divorce, excessive credit card spending, and lack of financial planning. John, for example, perfectly fit into the last category. He never worried about building an emergency fund because he believed his good salary would always keep him secure. The problem is that a single unforeseen event can shatter that illusion of stability. Without a financial reserve, any crisis, a layoff, an unexpected medical expense, or even a major car repair can be enough to push someone into extreme debt. Experts warn that without a well-structured budget, it is impossible to have financial control. Studies show that 78% of Americans don't follow a monthly budget, leaving them vulnerable to uncontrolled spending. John never had the habit of reviewing his expenses, and when he finally did, he realized that over 30% of his income was going to impulse buys and subscriptions he didn't even remember. The lack of a financial plan allowed him to spend without thinking, believing that small amounts wouldn't make a difference. But when added up, these small expenses snowballed into something much harder to control: Another critical factor that leads people to bankruptcy is the irresponsible use of credit. A credit card, when used wisely, can be an ally, but for most people, it becomes a trap. In the US, the average credit card debt per family exceeds $6,000, and interest rates often exceed 20% per year. John realized he was trapped in this cycle. He paid only the minimum payment, and each month, the interest made his debt grow even larger. The false sense of purchasing power led him to dig himself into a hole that seemed impossible to escape from. The good news is that understanding the causes of bankruptcy is the first step to avoiding it. John decided to take drastic measures to turn his situation around. He created a detailed budget, cut unnecessary expenses, and established a strict plan to pay off his debts. More importantly, he started building an emergency fund to ensure he would never again need to rely on credit in unexpected situations. If statistics show a pattern of bankruptcy, they also show a way to avoid it. The secret isn't just in earning more money, but in knowing how to use it wisely. True financial security begins with knowledge and planning. The question that remains is, do you know exactly where your money is going? Getting out of financial trouble can seem impossible when debts have piled up and interest consumes a large part of income. But contrary to what many believe, financial recovery does not depend solely on earning more money. It relies on smart strategies. This is what Andrew Collins, a former owner of a small tech business, discovered when he saw his business fail and his debt exceed $150,000. He no longer had a stable income, creditors were knocking on his door, and the anxiety of not being able to pay bills became overwhelming. But instead of sinking into despair, Andrew decided to take action. What he did can be applied by anyone who wants to escape a crisis. Andrew's first step was to change his mindset. Instead of feeling defeated, he accepted his situation and began to view the debt as a mathematical problem that could be solved with discipline and strategy. Many Americans face this same reality. According to the Federal Reserve, the total household debt in the US exceeds $17 trillion, much of which stems from irresponsible credit use. Recovery begins with an accurate diagnosis, understanding the real size of the problem. Andrew listed all his debts, including amounts, interest rates, and due dates. This first step was crucial for him to create an effective plan. With all the information in hand, he adopted the snowball method for debt repayment. This strategy involves paying off the smallest debts first, gaining psychological momentum with each one cleared, while maintaining minimum payments on the larger debts. For many experts, this approach works because it creates a sense of progress and motivation, making it easier to stay on the recovery path. Another common strategy is the avalanche method, where the debts with the highest interest rates are prioritized to minimize the total cost. Andrew combined both methods. He paid off small debts quickly to gain momentum and then focused on the more expensive ones. But paying off debts requires more than just organization. It requires budget cuts and often an increase in income. Andrew sold unnecessary belongings, drastically reduced his spending, and found alternative ways to make money. In the US, millions of people supplement their income with side jobs, such as freelancing, driving for rideshare apps, or digital commerce. He started offering online consulting in his area of expertise, and soon he was able to significantly increase his income without relying on a traditional job. His efforts began to pay off. Within 2 years, Andrew eliminated 80% of his debts and, more importantly, changed his relationship with money. He not only climbed out of the hole, but also created an emergency fund to never again need to rely on credit to solve financial problems. What seemed impossible at first became an achievable reality through planning and discipline. Financial recovery doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with a single step: recognizing the problem and creating a realistic plan. For those who are in debt, the secret is to take action now. Small changes can lead to significant impacts over time. What can you do today to start transforming your financial situation? Financial education is not a luxury, it's a necessity. However, most people have never learned how to manage money efficiently. In the United States, less than 17% of schools offer personal finance courses, and this knowledge gap is reflected in the statistics. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and nearly half of the adult population does not have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency. This reality deeply impacted Amanda Brooks, a 39-year-old nurse who always worked hard but never managed to get out of financial struggle. Since she was young, Amanda believed that the key to financial stability was simply earning more money. And so, she did. She studied, graduated, secured good jobs, and increased her income over the years. But despite this, she remained in debt and had no savings. The problem wasn't her income, it was the way she managed her money. She, like millions of people, had never learned about budgeting, compound interest, or investment strategies. The little knowledge she had came from generic advice like avoid debt or save money for the future. Without a clear strategy, these phrases were just scattered ideas with no real impact. The turning point came when Amanda decided she needed to understand better how money worked. She started with the basics, learning to differentiate assets from liabilities, understanding the effect of interest on debt and investments, and creating a realistic budget that worked for her lifestyle. The first major change came when she realized she was spending a fortune on impulse purchases and credit card interest. Only after adopting the habit of planning her purchases and paying off her credit card balance in full each month did she save hundreds of dollars every month. Amanda also recognized the importance of financial automation. She set up automatic deposits into her investment account and an emergency fund, ensuring her savings happened without relying on willpower. This was a game changer. Instead of waiting for leftover money to save, she paid herself first and adjusted her spending to what remained. This simple change allowed her to accumulate more money in 1 year than in the entire previous decade. Learning about investments was another milestone in her transformation. Previously, Amanda thought investing was risky and reserved for Wall Street experts. After studying index funds, retirement planning, and portfolio diversification, she realized that anyone can invest safely and efficiently. Instead of leaving her money sitting in a savings account with minimal returns, she began investing regularly, taking advantage of the power of compound interest to build wealth over the long term. The biggest lesson Amanda learned was that financial education is not optional. Those who do not understand money will always be at the mercy of those who do. By seeking knowledge and applying what she learned, she finally achieved the financial stability she had always wanted. The question is, are you in control of your money, or is your money in control of you? Building wealth is not just about cutting expenses. It's about creating new sources of income. For years, Mark Turner, a 44-year-old engineer, believed that his salary was enough to ensure his financial stability. But when his company faced difficulties and he was unexpectedly laid off, he realized that relying on a single source of income was a risk he should never have taken. Without an alternative income stream, Mark saw his savings evaporate in a few months and found himself forced to seek alternatives. Mark's situation reflects a common problem in the United States. Data shows that 40% of Americans have no extra income beyond their salary. This makes them extremely vulnerable to any unexpected event, whether it's a job loss, a medical emergency, or an economic crisis. Experts recommend that everyone should have at least 2 sources of income, whether through investments, side businesses, or passive income. This diversification not only provides more financial security, but also accelerates wealth growth. Mark's first decision was to seek income sources that didn't depend on his traditional job. He began studying the investment market and realized that he could generate a continuous cash flow through dividends from stocks and real estate investment funds. With strategic planning, he invested part of his savings into these assets and, in no time, started receiving monthly income without needing to work directly for it. In addition to investments, Mark ventured into the digital economy. He used his engineering experience to create an online programming course, selling it on educational platforms. In less than a year, the income generated from his courses surpassed his previous salary. This was when he realized the true power of extra income. It not only provides security, but also opens new opportunities for financial independence. Another path that many people follow to increase their income is entrepreneurship. In the US, more than 50 million people participate in the gig economy, doing freelance work through platforms like Uber, Airbnb, and Upwork. Starting a small business or offering specialized services can be the key to breaking free from dependence on a fixed salary. Mark realized that by diversifying his income sources, he would never again have to worry about the insecurity of depending on a single employer. Mark's greatest lesson was simple but powerful. Anyone who wants financial stability needs multiple sources of income. The job market is unstable, and the future is uncertain. Creating financial alternatives is the best way to ensure a peaceful life, free from worries. Financial freedom doesn't happen by chance. It is built with planning, discipline, and smart decisions over time. After spending years facing financial difficulties, Sarah Mitchell, a 52-year-old teacher, finally found the balance she had always sought. She didn't need to win the lottery or inherit a fortune to achieve her financial security. All she did was follow a solid plan and maintain consistency. Today, Sarah no longer worries about bills or unexpected expenses. and can enjoy her life without the constant stress of money. Sarah's case reinforces a truth that many ignore. Financial security doesn't depend only on income, but on how money is managed. The first pillar for a sustainable financial future is planning. Sarah set clear, measurable goals for her financial life, including a robust emergency fund, strategic investments, and a solid retirement plan. Studies show that only 40% of Americans have a well-defined financial plan, which explains why so many people struggle in old age. The second pillar is the financial mindset. Sarah realized she needed to change her relationship with money and abandon habits that were harming her. She learned to differentiate wants from needs, to avoid impulsive purchases, and to use credit responsibly. With this new perspective, she began to value the freedom of not depending on debt to live well. According to data from the Federal Reserve, 77% of American families carry some form of debt, many of which could be avoided with better financial control. The third pillar is consistency. Sarah understood that time is the greatest ally of anyone who wants to build solid wealth. Small, regular investments can grow exponentially over the years, thanks to the power of compound interest. Even starting late, she managed to accumulate enough wealth to ensure a worry-free retirement. This is a common mistake. Many people believe that if they didn't start investing early, they've missed their chance, but it's never too late to make better financial decisions. Sarah's journey shows that anyone can achieve financial security if they adopt a system based on planning, discipline, and consistency. The ultimate solution to avoiding bankruptcy and living peacefully isn't a stroke of luck, but daily smart decisions. Building a sustainable future requires effort, but the results make every sacrifice worthwhile. Now, the choice is in your hands. You can continue in the cycle of instability, or you can start acting today to build a secure and peaceful financial future. What will you do to change your financial life from now on?